Hey guys, Useless here, and today we are going to be doing another episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup. This is the show where we round up all of the latest news in the world of movies that occurred in the past week. Can you believe it? It's hype. Get hyped. I should have adjusted my camera better before we started. That would have been helpful, wouldn't it have been? Me from the past? Idiot. Whatever. Who cares? Let's just get on with the show because we actually have a lot to talk about. So we're not going to waste any time. So first up, let's get through all the trailers. We got a trailer for The Mandalorian Season 3. I think this looks pretty great, honestly. In my humble opinion, Andor has surpassed The Mandalorian to become the best Star Wars show on Disney+. But I still really like The Mandalorian. Andor is like an HBO like prestige drama. Mandalorian is like fun Star Wars, you know. You got the cameos, you got the Easter eggs, you got the fan service. You know, you got just a terrifying, just emotionally blank Luke, like fake Luke Skywalker running around. You get the soy face and go, look, I recognize the thing from the movie. I've seen that thing before, and now it's in the thing that I'm watching now. You know, it's fun Star Wars, and I appreciate it for that. I am also genuinely interested in seeing, you know, like what them sort of maybe solidify exactly what ends up happening with the Mandalorians. Maybe like in this season, since it's a big live action thing, maybe we get like a conclusion of like the Mandalorian War. Like maybe we get to see like who officially is like in control of Mandalore and blah blah blah. Like which sect of Mandalorians ends up winning. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping to get some closure on that. Obviously, we want to see Din, and Grogu, their relationship continue. We're gonna see Grogu get more powerful as we saw there. So I mean, it looks cool, man. I'm excited. All right. Next up, I'm actually exit out of this as well. Okay. So here we have, so Netflix put out this like save the dates teaser where they show off a bunch of the movies that are coming out in 2023. And as a part of that, we got to see a bit of Rebel Moon. I don't want to do audio. Okay. So yeah, and if you saw that there, Rebel Moon is coming in December of 2023. So, unfortunately for Rebel Moon, they're going to have to compete with Invincible. Sorry, Rebel Moon. You're just not on that level, but, you know, no offense to you. But yeah, I don't know. It looks fine. It looks like a sci-fi thing. Obviously, like all the Zack Snyder fans they're excited, and I'm excited for them. But yeah, we didn't get to see much, but I think it looks okay. I'm interested, you know. Zack Snyder's a bit hit or miss for me, where it's like I like some of his movies, don't like some of his other ones. So hopefully I like this one. All right, next up we have kind of an interesting trailer for Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham. This is an animated movie, and I think it looks interesting. So it's an Elseworld story where like Batman is in this kind of like steampunky world. People were kind of saying that, or they were kind of wondering if this was in the same continuity as Gotham, or what is it, Batman Gotham by Gaslight. But I don't think it is. I think this is its own separate continuity that's, like I said, in more of a steampunk sort of thing. I think it looks cool. I to be honest, I don't really keep up with DC animated stuff. And that's mostly just because I feel like a lot of it is just not very good. Just to be frank. But I don't know. I want to get better at it. I feel like it's something that I should keep up with. So I'm hopefully I'm gonna watch this. I think this comes out in March. But yeah, I don't know. I think it looks interesting. Honestly, I will say, like, the bad guys in this, they seem like they're not the Court of Owls, where it's just like another secret society in Gotham. But of course, obviously, it's like a weird Elseworlds thing, with like steampunk like technology, but also I don't know. It seems like someone was in like an armor. So I don't know. It looks interesting. We'll see what comes of it. Okay. All right, now for our first story. Black Panther 2 and Ant-Man 3 are actually going to get release dates in China. So This is actually pretty big news. So I'll read this paragraph here, but Black Panther 2, which released across the rest of the world in November, will unfurl in China on February 7th, followed by Ant-Man 3 on February 17th, day and date with North America. So the reason why this is actually like pretty big news is because we have not, or China has not gotten a Marvel movie since, I believe, Spider-Man Far From Home in 2019. That's cray cray. Right, because I think Far From Home came out after Endgame, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it did. That's pretty cray cray. And it has hurt their box office. I mean, when you look at movies like Shang-Chi and Eternals, which only made like $400 million, I mean, China could have boosted those up to $500 million, you know? I think, China would have probably boosted Doctor Strange at the Multiverse of Madness into the $1 billion mark. So, I mean, it's not, obviously Marvel is fine, but, China is something that it's a market that they want to be in. So I will say, I don't think that this is going to do much for the Wakanda Forever box office. It's sitting around the $800 million mark. With it releasing on February 7th, it's really going to only have a week to cook. So I don't think it's going to like do that well. But Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I think we could see that be pretty impactful, because that the Ant-Man and the Wasp yeah, because like Ant-Man and the Wasp, let me just pull this up here. I did not realize this. It made $121 million in China. I was like, really? So, considering the scope of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is going to be much larger, and it's sci-fi, which plays well in China, I could see the Chinese market. I could see it making a pretty decent amount of money there. So, I could see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania like jumping up to, just assuming 600 million is the baseline. I could see it bumping it up like almost $200 million more to like $800 million. So yeah, this is good news, obviously, for the movies, and we'll see what happens when it comes to Marvel movies in the future, because technically speaking, like, they weren't banned from China. I don't think China's ever given us like an official reason as to why they weren't accepting them, but China only accepts so many movies anyways. So it's not even that there was a ban on Marvel, as much as they were just being a lot more picky, and Marvel movies just weren't the ones that they were picking. So yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to think about. We really don't know why they weren't letting them in. All right. Next up, Last of Us, pretty big. So, reading here from The Hollywood Reporter, the series, based on the hit video game franchise and co-created by the game's architect, Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, delivered 4.7 million cross-platform viewers on Sunday night, according to Nielsen and first-party data from HBO. That figure trails only House of the Dragon's nearly 10 million among HBO series premieres in the past decade plus. Other than the Game of Thrones prequel, the HBO show with a larger opening night audience for its debut was Boardwalk Empire in 2010, several years before HBO had any serious streaming presence. So, all that to say that The Last of Us last Sunday, of course, a new episode is coming out tonight. Pretty massive. I think this show's going to be huge. I mean, the quality of that first episode was really high. I simply have to imagine that this is going to reach, like, if not like Game of Thrones levels of numbers, something akin to that. So yeah, I mean, I think the sky's the limit for The Last of Us at this point. But yeah, we'll see how it does. Okay. Next up, we got some updates on Jeremy Renner. So the Mayor of Kingstown, that's his show on Paramount Plus. they kind of tweeted out, to watch the season 2 premiere now. And then Jeremy Renner replies, I cannot speak right now. Jeremy Renner replies, outside my brain fog and recovery, I was very excited to watch episode 201 with my family at home. So basically, he's confirming that he is now resting at home. So I think that's obviously great. He's hopefully going to, have a full, healing process and hopefully get back on his feet. And, hopefully doesn't have any long-lasting injuries and stuff like that. So, obviously, my condolences to Jeremy Renner and his families and all of that. And yeah, hope you just continue to get better. My guy, who's literally never going to see this. But yeah, absolute Chad went out to save his family member or something, and the accident happened. But yeah, looks like he's getting better. All right, next up. All right, so we are going to listen to this here.
This is not
Amber Midthunder.
But I'm not saying it's not.
Basically confirming that there's going to be a Prey sequel.
When do we see the sequel?
I mean,
Is it happening?
I don't have a date for you. This is not an announcement, but I'm not saying it's not.
Like,
They've spoken to you about this.
she's basically confirming that, yeah, there's going to be a Prey sequel.
And that was probably one.
And you want the sequel to happen.
Of course. Yeah.
You're ready for it.
I'm ready.
So-
I loved that experience. I loved
So yeah, I mean, she's basically a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There's going to be a sequel. Yeah, I think that's cool. Admittedly, Prey is the only Predator movie I've seen. I just never got around to watching the classic one, nor the sequels that aren't as much of a classic from what I understand. But I really like Prey, and I'd totally be down for a sequel. I know like people speculated that they might go to like different time periods and stuff like that, which I think would have been cool. But I mean, I'm also totally open to coming back to like the characters that we left off with in the first one. Okay. Next story. Okay, yeah, so now we also have another actress being kind of cheeky. So let's just hit play here.
Well, Okoye is definitely not fired because there are rumors out there of a Black Panther spinoff, a series about your character, Okoye. And Marvel keeps it kind of tight. Marvel, you know about these rumors, right? You've heard about these rumors. You know people know about this, right? Can you tell us anything more about that? Can you confirm that there will be an Okoye spinoff? What can you say, Denai Guerrero?
Tell us.
Come on.
I have been told that I can gently allude to this possibility. So,
Sorry, I'm also texting somebody, so I'm letting them do my content for me.
You gently alluding is the Marvel version of a full Monty. I can't believe I got anything out of you. Well, okay, so so there's a spinoff. That's definitely happening. Take it to the bank.
Gentle.
But here's another one, right?
Okay, yeah, so then they're going to talk about like The Walking Dead, which whatever, honestly. Yeah, so basically, I mean, much like the Prey girl, they're basically confirming like, yeah, no, we're getting like some kind of Okoye series, or at the very least there's one in the works, and I'd be down for that. I mean, Okoye is a character that I feel like, okay, so I guess spoilers for Wakanda Forever if you haven't seen it, but I would not have made, I don't think Shuri should have been Black Panther. At the end of that, I really like Wakanda Forever. I even really like the arc that Shuri went on, but I just don't know if that's really the character that should have gotten the Black Panther mantle. My opinion, it should have either been like Nakia or M'Baku or Okoye. So I really love the character of Okoye, and I mean, I'd definitely be down to watch like a spin-off show or whatever. But hopefully it's good. Give us a good show. Don't make Hawkeye again. If you're going to make an Okoye spin-off, make it good. Yeah. That should be fun, hopefully. let's move on to the next story. Okay, so kind of a serious one. Yeah, so Justin Roiland has been charged with felony domestic violence, it says here in the article. In Orange County, several questions remain about the fate of his sprawling animation empire. As NBC News was the first to report, January 12th, Roiland, the co-creator of Adult Swim's Rick and Morty and Hulu's Solar Opposites, was charged in 2020 with 1 count of domestic battery with corporal injury and 1 count of false imprisonment by menace, violence, fraud, or deceit following an alleged incident that year with an unnamed woman whom Roiland was dating. Several pre-trial hearings have occurred in the case since Roiland was released on a $50,000 bond in 2020, including one on Thursday. Roiland has pled not guilty, and in a statement, Roiland's attorney T. Edward Welburn called the media coverage of the charges inaccurate, adding, "To be clear, not only is Justin innocent, but we also have every expectation that this matter is on a course to be dismissed once the district attorney's office has completed its methodical review of the evidence." So, and then it says here that Adult Swim has so far declined to comment, which, I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because at this point, we have a charge, and he is, denying it. So, really, at this point, there's really not much for us to say other than let's wait for the evidence. And, so I really can't comment too much on it, other than this could have some pretty massive repercussions, because, I mean, obviously, a man could get in jail, and obviously, innocent people would have gotten hurt, which is terrible. But, as it pertains to the show, I mean, Justin Roiland, he is the co-showrunner of Rick and Morty. I believe, I don't know if he's a showrunner, but he's he made Solar Opposites, also Koala Man on Hulu. He's also the CEO of a game studio like Squanch Games. They just released High on Life, which was like a pretty massive success. So I mean, there is kind of a lot on the line here. When it comes to Justin Roiland and his entertainment empire. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. We'll have to see, what evidence gets presented in court and all that. And I'm sorry, I had to text something important as I was talking, but I am so good at this. I didn't miss a beat. Okay, I shouldn't have joked during this serious topic. But yeah, we just have to wait to see what comes from it. Okay. Next story. Can we? I think my screen froze. Okay, we're good. Okay. Daredevil Born Again. We got some casting. This lady, Nikki M. James from the Book of Mormon, has been cast in Marvel's upcoming revival series on Disney Plus, Daredevil Born Again. Deadline has learned. Details regarding her character are being kept under wraps. Marvel declined to comment. So, here's the thing. Until the day that we hear that Deborah Ann Wall is also in one of these things, I don't know what they think they're doing. I'll be real with you. Because it's like, they keep on announcing all of these, all of these actresses. And everybody's just like, where's Deborah Ann Wall? We're getting closer and closer to hopefully getting some kind of answer. But my whole thing, and I think what's on everybody's mind is, of course, is the Daredevil that we've seen in the MCU, that we've seen in No Way Home, and that we've seen in She-Hulk. Is he the same exact Daredevil from the Netflix series, or is he an MCU variant of that Daredevil? I don't know. I'd like for them to confirm that maybe one of these actresses is Karen Page, because then that could kind of put it to rest that, yeah, this is a new variant and there's a different actress playing Karen Page, so that kind of alludes to that. But I don't know. Who knows? Nobody knows. Nobody knows anything about anything ever. Okay, next story. J.K. Simmons apparently would return for Spider-Man 4 if that were to happen. So Reading from CBR, Simmons, who portrayed J. Jonah Jameson in all 3 of Raimi's Spider-Man movies, confirmed he would sign on for another sequel in a recent episode of YouTube series Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Absolutely, I would do anything that Sam Raimi approached me with, he said. I mean, almost anything. Raimi originally intended to direct a 4th Spider-Man movie following the release of Spider-Man 3 in 2007. However, he ultimately bowed out of the project and chose to reboot and Sony chose to reboot the franchise. So yeah, I mean, this really isn't that surprising because, J.K. Simmons doesn't seem to be like one of these guys where he's like, I have said everything that I need to say with the character. I will never come back. No, nay, like Christian Bale or whatever. Because I don't think we're ever gonna see Christian Bale as Batman again. J.K. Simmons seems to be like, oh yeah, you're gonna pay me. It's a job. I'm a working actor. You're gonna give me a job. Sure, I'll do it. Like he'll come back for like the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. It doesn't really seem like he cares that much. But at the end of the day, this really isn't even news because this is like an if upon an if upon an if, where it's like, if Sony decided they wanted to make a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, if Sam Raimi decides that he would want to come back for that movie, and then J.K. Simmons would come back. But at the moment, like the sentiment doesn't really mean much. Okay, actually, I'm going to take a quick break because I forgot to get water, and my throat is parched. So. Oops. Okay, hold up. I messed that one up. Okay, we're back. Remember, kids, you need to stay parched. Not parched. You need to drink water. It's important, And I'm not good at it because it's like I will just not drink water, and then I will like actually feel like I want to die, and then I'll realize I haven't like drunk water for like at all today. It's like that's probably why. That's why you should probably be a bit more proactive in your water drinking. Anyways, literally nobody cares about that. Let's move on to the next story. James Gunn tweeted and scheming. So basically he tweeted this out. He says the secret to happiness is starting the morning with coffee and comic books. And he's showing he's reading All-Star Superman. And that's kind of leading a bunch of people to be like, "Oh, is James Gunn going to be doing All-Star Superman? Is it confirmed?" And no, this obviously does not mean that it's confirmed. But I mean, maybe that's gonna be an inspiration. And then somebody wrote, "I think you forgot something. You were supposed to announce the DC slate this month." And James Gunn says it's the 18th, basically saying it's only the 18th, young man. We still have time. Well, James, I will have you know that you have approximately 9 days left. Right? I can do math. 9 days left, James. 9 days. I'm impatient. We're gonna get to stories later, where I will express my impatience. So you better hurry your cute little ass up. Announce that slate. All right. I'm glad we understand each other. Next story. Sandman. We have the Desire actor talking about it. Let's hear what they have to say.
Netflix has not gone on record as calling it a season 2 on purpose, and so I from now on and in the future and in perpetuity until the end of the universe will not refer to it as season 2. Until you know, we know what.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means. Like, I don't know if that just means that they're gonna like call the next season, if it's gonna have some kind of subtitle, or I don't know. That seems stupid. Like, it's probably just gonna be a season 2.
What it is. There is more Sandman coming in a really cool way, and it can take many forms. So we're starting shooting in the summer.
Like a season 2.
Tackle the next huge chunk of stories in however long that might take, and I'm really excited to share the format of what that might be with everybody eventually.
Oh wait, did they? I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea what they identify as. Wait, did they say when they? I think they say it when they started shooting, right?
Share the format of what that might be with everybody eventually.
Hold on.
And however long that might can take many forms. So
I'm
we're
pretty.
starting
Oh
shooting
yes.
in the
Okay.
summer.
Sorry. That's the big confirmation here. Is that Sandman season 2 is starting shooting this summer. So, and that is what it says on the tweet there. I could have just read that. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I apologize. But yeah, I'm excited. I really dug the first season of the Sandman. Kind of got a little bit less interesting in that last arc, but either way, really love the show, and I'm excited for it to come back. All right, next up, Avatar, absolute Giga Chad at the box office. It has officially crossed the $2 billion mark. Or it will fit. Oh, Disney announced Sunday that the big budget sequel will finish the weekend with a global total of 2.24 billion. So let's just take a look at the top like 5 whatever or the top 10, the top highest grossing movies of all time. So as of right now, Avatar: The Way of Water, it's currently listed as 1.9 billion. Is at number 6. Let's see. They say they're going to end with a total of 2.24 billion. So it'll come out just under Avengers: Infinity War. I'm going to make a prediction here. I do think that, I mean, it's definitely going to pass Infinity War. It's definitely going to pass Star Wars Episode 7. I don't think it's gonna catch Titanic. I don't think so, because it only has 3 more weeks to cook. Because it's gonna run into Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I don't know if I don't know if it can make like $100 million more dollars in that time. But even if it doesn't, can we just appreciate that we are going to be, like, this is for sure going to happen, where James Cameron will have 3 of the top 5 highest grossing movies of all time. That's actually insane. That is actual insanity. Like, I can't believe there are people out there that just they just casually doubt James Cameron. Like, people are like, oh, nobody cares about Avatar. Nobody's gonna watch this. Nobody's gonna watch The Way of Water. And by the way, I don't even love the Avatar that much. I think the movies are kind of overrated, but there's just no denying that James Cameron just knows how to make a movie that pleases general audiences. He just knows how to do it. You know? Like, there's no denying that people are just engrossed by his movies. So that's absolutely insane that we're going to end up with the 3 of the top 5 movies are going to be James Cameron movies. That's actually crazy. But yeah, we'll see exactly how it all tops out. I mean, it could pass Titanic. It could. It's definitely not catching Avengers Endgame, but it could pass Titanic. But okay, whatever. Who cares? Next story. Tron 3 moving forward with Jared Leto. Speaking of who cares, I don't know, man. Okay, After years of stops and starts, Tron 3 is moving forward at Disney. Jared Leto, who has championed the project since 2017, will star in the feature, with frequent Disney collaborator Joaquin Ronning in talks to direct. The film, titled Tron Ares, has a script from Jesse Wigatow and will follow 2010's Tron Legacy. Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not much of a Tron guy. I've definitely seen Tron Legacy. I've never seen the original Tron. Now that I think about it, I did watch Tron Uprising. I watched a bit of that as a kid as well. But I've just never been able to fall in love with like the Tron franchise. But I don't know. But whenever this comes out, I'm sure I'll like catch up on all the other stuff. And maybe I'll be into it. But I don't know. Also, Jared Leto is just, I don't know. Maybe now it'll finally be Morbin time. Who knows? All right, you good? Webpage? You want to load? Let me try refreshing it. There we go. Mandalorian Season 3 trailer draws record 83.5 million views in first 24 hours. So apparently, I guess, yes, I believe this is Mandalorian Season 3, the trailer that we talked about at the beginning of the show, is the highest viewed trailer for a Disney Plus show. I don't even think it's just Star Wars Disney Plus show. I think when you take into account Marvel and Star Wars, I think with 83.5 million, I think it's the highest viewed, right, in the first 24 hours. I think it says here, previously a trailer for Star Wars series Obi-Wan Kenobi attracted roughly 58 million views. So not only did they like beat the highest viewed Star Wars trailer, they demolished it, left it in the sand. Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, you ain't got nothing on Baby Yoda or Grogu. That's his name. I'll call him by his real name. Literally, who even are you? Okay, Grogu is the only name in town. But yeah, no, it is surprising, but also not, because The Mandalorian really is the foundational Disney Plus show. So it really has just been growing in popularity, and it's like the one thing that people unanimously seem to enjoy about in Star Wars. Where it's like there really aren't that many people that are like, oh, the Mandalorian sucks. Like there really aren't that many people out there. So yeah, this really isn't all that surprising. All right, next up. Bro, I don't know why my web pages keep on being cringe and just not wanting to load. But either way, I don't even really need this page. I can just talk about it. Okay, well, here we are. Cobra Kai to end with season 6 on Netflix. That's the that's the story. Yeah, season 6 is, I guess, going to be the end of Cobra Kai. I feel like they said recently that they had larger plans for Cobra Kai, beyond season 6. I feel like the showrunner said that, but I wonder if this is really a thing of, it could be a number of things. Like, obviously the most obvious would be Netflix just wanting to cancel the show, but they're like, okay, listen, we'll give you one more season. Okay. So, maybe Netflix just wants to cancel it, because I would imagine that even though the show is very cheap to produce, like, it's just like teenagers doing karate in a strip mall, but I imagine like the actors' salaries are probably piling up, right? Like, these guys are like now megastars, and I imagine that's probably where a lot of the money is coming from. That if it is getting too expensive, because oh my god, like Stranger Things is just ridiculous. But yeah, yeah, that's what I would imagine, right? But it could also be the actors maybe like wanting to move on and do other things. Jolo Varidueña, right? He's gonna be Blue Beetle this year. That's his film career might spring up now. So I wonder if maybe it's also a part of the actors maybe not wanting to do more. But I don't know. Either way, I do think that this is a bit premature than what they initially intended. But I mean, maybe even creatively, they were just like, you know what, man, this is where we want to end it. This is where we should end it. So who knows? At the end of the day, I absolutely adore Cobra Kai, and as long as they end it satisfyingly, like as long as they're going into this season right, being like, yep, this is it, and they end it in a satisfying manner, I'll be cool. So we'll see what comes of this. Next story. So we got another casting for Captain America: New World Order. Zosha Roquemore, I don't know how to pronounce that name, my apologies, is the latest to join the ensemble of Marvel's Captain America: New World Order, starring Anthony Mackie, Tim Blake Nelson, Harrison Ford, Danny Ramirez, Carl Lumbly, and Shira Haas are also on board. Julius Ona will direct the pick, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier showrunner Malcolm Spellman writing the script along with Dallin Muson. So, yeah, we don't know who this person is, or we don't know who they're playing, I should say. People are saying that they are like kind of predicting that she's gonna play Misty Knight, but that then just opens up an entire can of worms, because apparently, I haven't read any of these comic books, but apparently Misty Knight and Sam Wilson, like, they date in the comics, so that's kind of why they're bringing that up. But I'm just trying to think, because it's like, okay, if you do that, then you open up an entire can of worms, because there was a Misty Knight in Luke Cage, so if you were to recast Misty Knight for New World Order, is that then confirming that Daredevil is not the Daredevil from the Netflix show, because Luke Cage is connected to the Daredevil in the Netflix show, and if you recast the Misty Knight from that, then maybe that's like confirmation that it's not, that none of the Netflix stuff is in the MCU, and that yes, Charlie Cox is a MCU variant of that Netflix Daredevil. Can we please get some straight answers, Kevin? Kevin? Mr. Feige? I'm losing my mind here. I'm actually losing it. Can you give me a straight answer? Please? No? Well, fine. Moving on to the next story then. All right. This is absurd. This right here is absurd. Okay. Let's just read. Okay, we're going to read some quotes. Quote rating time. I love James Gunn. And so there's going to be some really cool things what they're doing with DC. And I definitely will be in more than just one, Jason Momoa said Friday at the Sundance Film Festival when asked about his DC Universe future. There's room for me to play a couple different roles, the Aquaman actor said. I've seen other actors do it. Yeah, I want a shot. What? Okay, let's actually scroll down a bit, because we have a special relationship. I wish I could say more, Momoa added when questioned if he would be exiting his DC superhero role, as so many of his fellow Justice Leaguers appear to be doing under the regime of Gunn and Peter Safran. I'll always be Aquaman, and there's a lot of evolution for that. So I'm not going anywhere, and it's very exciting. What does that mean? What do you mean you're going to play a couple different roles? Now, he says that I've seen other actors do it. Like, sure. We've seen like Michelle Yeoh. She played one of the Ravagers in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and then she also played Shang-Chi's mom in Shang-Chi and Legends and Rings. Sure, we've seen Gemma Chan play she played like one of the bad guys in Captain Marvel, and then she went on to play Cersei in Eternals. We've seen that, but we haven't seen like an Avenger play like a major role and then decide to do something else, which is presumably Lobo, right? I mean, we don't have any confirmation that, they're getting Jason Momoa to play Lobo, but, that's kind of the running theory right now, because obviously Lobo is a character that James Gunn would want to do, and Jason Momoa is kind of perfect casting. But even if it's not, what do you mean you're still playing Aquaman? I mean, okay, here's the thing. I understand that Jason Momoa, he can't just come out and say that he's not going to be Aquaman anymore. He can't really come out and say that because, you have to market the movie. And going, yeah, no, the Aquaman stuff, not, who cares? We're moving past that. Not exactly great marketing. like you shouldn't even really care about my Aquaman movie because there's not going to be any, it's not going to connect to anything after this. But still, I don't know. Kevin, James, can I please have some clarification on all of this? I'm actually losing my mind. So before I lose it any further, we're moving on to the next story. Okay, so there was a leaked Suicide Squad image that confirms the existence of a battle pass or something. Actually, give me 1 second. I actually need to restart my camera. So this is weird. Let's just read this article. It's not that long. And by the way, WB have been taking down images. So it was in this tweet, but so I'm not going to display the image because I don't want them to copyright strike the video or whatever, or the stream. But yeah, it is a real image because WB Games has been taking them down. But we can describe the image. The image, which originated on the 4chan forum and has been verified by a Video Games Chronicle source, is understood to originate from a recent test build and shows various menus planned for the Rocksteady co-op game. The Battle Pass and multiple currencies shown in the image have inspired debate on social media about how extensive the live service elements will be for the title. However, a development source told VGC that while a Battle Pass is planned for the game, it will be focused on cosmetic items such as skins. In addition, the various currencies shown at the top of the leaked image are understood to be XP used to power up and customize the skill trees of each anti-hero, effectively making them unique to the player. You don't start off debuffed and weak, VGC was told. You just start off great and can get ridiculous like Arkham Knight's Batman. Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, the next game from the creator of the Batman Arkham series, is billed as a genre-bending action-adventure shooter, set in an open-world metropolis. Okay, here's the thing. I want to be clear about this. I understand that my position on all of this is inherently kind of unreasonable. Because at the end of the day, this just isn't a game that I want. I don't want a live service Rocksteady DC game. I just don't. I don't even want a co-op Rocksteady DC game. What I love about their games are that they are incredible, handcrafted, single-player experiences. The way that they told their stories were so dope and awesome with spoilers for Arkham Knight, the whole Joker hallucination stuff, and all the sequences where you're you're going through nightmare worlds and you're turning around and then things happening when you turn back around. I don't even know if that kind of stuff is possible in a co-op game. And so everything that I see from this game just makes me less hyped for it. Yes, I don't care if it's a quote-unquote fair battle pass where it's just cosmetics. I don't want a battle pass. I don't want a live service game from a Rocksteady DC game. I want just a tight single-player experiences that is handcrafted for a single-player experiences that tells a great story. That has incredible boss fights and combat sequences that are tailor-made for a single-player experience. Because I don't listen, I don't think this is going to be a Gotham Knights situation. I have to believe that at the very least, Rocksteady is going to deliver a fun video game. Like, I imagine that I will probably play through the campaign and I will have fun with it. But I'm pretty sure that however good the campaign is, if they had just focused on making that a single player game, it probably would have been better. And this is just a question to like Destiny fans. You know, Destiny fans are always talking about how, oh yeah, the Destiny campaigns, they're so great. They're like games within of themselves. They're worth playing. Ask yourself this question, just honestly. Are the Destiny campaigns actually as good as if Bungie would just not do like a live service and just make a game? Like just a single player game? Are you really telling me that the Destiny campaigns are just as good as that? As if Bungie said, we're just going to make a single player game. It's just going to be the campaign. I'd be willing to bet it's not. Or they're not. So that's just where I come down on it. Like sure, maybe the battle pass isn't that egregious. Maybe it really doesn't affect anything. Maybe it's just cosmetic. I don't want it. I just don't want it. And so I get it. That's kind of unreasonable because it's like, okay, well, whatever. It is what the game is. But it's just ultimately disappointing to me. But then even then, I mean, like they say right there in the article that in addition, the various currencies shown at the top of the leaked image are understood to be XP used to power up and customize the skill tree. So I don't know how that applies to the single player component, like the campaign version component. But so there's still going to be like pay to win aspects to this to some degree. Like the battle pass might be just cosmetic, but you still have currencies that you can use to make your character more powerful. Maybe that's just for multiplayer. Maybe that's not going to have anything to do with the campaign. I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see what comes from that. Won't we? It's a bummer. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? Next up, more bummer. Rami Malek starring Buster Keaton limited series from Matt Reeves and work of Warner Brothers TV. And I'm going to continue being unreasonable here. I don't know why, but this kind of worries me. So, okay, it says, I'll just read this here. Deadline hears that Warner Brothers Television is developing a limited series about Buster Keaton that has Oscar and Emmy winner Rami Malek playing the vaudeville turned silent comedy movie star. Matt Reeves, Six and Idaho Productions, Malek and David Weddle are producing, and we understand that the Batman director is set to helm. Now, when we hear that a director is set to helm something, what that usually means is they're going to direct it. Matthew. 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 You know you have another movie coming out, right? Right? The Batman 2? I get it. I get it. People can work on multiple projects at once. I understand that. But being a director is kind of an all-consuming process. And directing an entire limited series, it's kind of an all-consuming process. And here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I acknowledge that I'm currently overreacting, but we are going to be hearing about James Gunn's slate at some point, right? We're going to be hearing about that. it wouldn't be unreasonable to assume, or not assume, but think that maybe James Gunn doesn't want two Batman going on at the same time. And he has said that Batman is going to be a part of his DC universe. Those are words that he has said. And I'm just I'm just confronting the possibility that James Gunn makes a tough decision, as he's made tough decisions that I've defended in the past, right? Him not bringing back Henry Cavill. I am merely confronting the possibility that perhaps, maybe, he doesn't move forward with more of the Batman universe. And if you know me, you know that would hurt me very deeply. And I just I shouldn't jump to conclusions. I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't jump to conclusions. But I've put that thought out there into the world. Possibility. James Gunman. If you don't tell us your plans soon, I'm actually going to lose my mind. I'm actually going to lose my mind. But on a real, please don't cancel the Batman. Please don't cancel Matt Reeves' Batman universe. You can have two Batmans. You can do it. It's possible, James. James, it's possible. You and me and Matt, we can all work together and we can make it work. Please, please, you can have the Batverse and the whatever your DC universe. You can do it. It's possible. Just please, James. And Peter too. And Peter, I don't want to leave Peter out of this. He's also co-president, even though he's not active on Twitter. You're a part of this. You, me, Matt, we can work together. We can have whatever your Batman thing is, and we can have Matt leave Matt alone. Let him do his thing, please, James, please. Could we do that? Maybe, I don't know. I think I should move on to the other story before I actually become unhinged. So we're gonna do that. Speaking of Batman, Jason Momoa, he doesn't know which Batman is in Aquaman 2. Jason, he really do just be saying things. He really do just be saying things. But where does this quote start? Because this man. Okay, in an interview with The Wrap at the Sundance Film Festival, Momoa stated he doesn't know what the final cut of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom will look like. I shot with a couple different Batmans, but you just don't know what's going on, and we'll see what the end product is, the actor said. The Batmans he was referring to are likely Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton. Did we know that Michael Keaton shot anything for Aquaman? I could be wrong, but that is news, right? Like, the idea of Michael Keaton shooting something for Aquaman, that's news. Am I right about that? And Jason Momoa is confirming that he has shot with multiple Batmen. Okay. Okay. And then Momoa continues, it's just hugs and kisses. I love that guy, he said. Wait, this was back in like July when he posted that picture of Ben Affleck. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. He's basically being coy about it and basically saying, man, who knows what Batman is going to show up in Aquaman 2. I mean, I've shot with both of them, so who knows? Who even knows? Who has any kind of idea? You do. You do, Jason. You know. You know. You know. You know. You know who else knows? James. James knows. He knows. He refuses to tell us. James, I need the Batman 2. James, I need it. You don't understand. You don't understand how much I need the Batman 2. And I don't want to imagine that you would have relieved Matt Reeves of his duties that freed up time to make this Buster Keaton whatever limited series. I don't want to imagine that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. We're moving on. We have to move on, or else I'm going to lose my mind, as if I haven't already. Here's James again. Why isn't he? So James put out a tweet. He was like, somebody put out this tweet. He says, at James Gunn, please do not encourage # Guardians of the Galaxy cast to follow you to DCU. Find fresh actors that can craft brilliant characters and forge new memories for audiences. Instead of swimming in the same muddy pond, I know I am not alone in feeling this way. Rebirth, not reuse. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Wait, is he wait, I think he's walking back. He says, and by muddy pond, I mean all or most of the same actors playing multiple heroes across comic book movies. Feels a little messy. Appreciate everyone's thoughts on this, though. I also do not think I am in some position to tell anyone how to do their jobs, just my thoughts. Okay, whatever. But yeah, James Gunn basically says, we have hundreds of roles to cast, as I've always done. Some will be brand new faces, some will be actors I've worked with before, and some will be actors who I've never worked with. What matters most is the actor fits the role and they're easy to work with. So, I mean, yeah, and I think we can skip over here, right? Just skip over here, where James Gunn basically says, he was being interviewed by Empire. He says, this cast are like my family. He's talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy cast. I cannot tell you how close I am to Chris Pratt and Palm Clementif and Dave Bautista and Zoe Saldana and Karen Gillan, but I also know I will work again with all those people individually again, probably at my other job. So, I mean, James Gunn is a guy that he likes to keep his friends close, it seems like. And, with like Michael Rooker being in all of his projects, it's like, yeah, I can imagine that, Chris Pratt is going to be in something. I can imagine that Dave Bautista is going to be in something. I mean, Zoe Saldana recently said that she kind of wants to maybe step away from big blockbuster stuff, so she might not want to, but I imagine that the door is going to be open for her. But it's like he says here, I imagine that other people they're also going to be castings that aren't his friends. So, I don't know, seems like a not really a thing to get too super upset over. Okay, next up, we have something kind of interesting. So, this is like the Disney release schedule. There's a lot of untitled stuff. Honestly, a lot of it is kind of like not really news, or whatever. Except just to know, I just want to like put this out there. Disney does not have a Star Wars movie slated until 2025. The Rise of Skywalker, I believe, was in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Disney will not have released a Star Wars movie in 6 years. That's wild, isn't it? Like, dang, bro. I mean, on the one hand, it's like I kind of respect it because, when it came to like Solo and whatever, like they were clearly running the franchise into the ground to a certain degree. But at the same time, it's like, damn, you're not 6 years. You don't have to take 6 years off. Well, I mean, you still are, kind of running the franchise into the ground with some of your shows, but some of them are good. So hopefully we're on a good swing with Andor and Mando season 3, and hopefully like Acolyte and stuff like that. But yeah, that's just kind of a wild thing to think about. That at the very least, we're not getting a Star Wars movie until 2025. With Lucasfilm at the helm, possibly until later. So yeah, but we'll just have to see what comes of that. All right, next up, it looks like the Spider-Man game voice actor hasn't been called for the Spider-Verse movies. So that's Yuri Lowenthal. And it says here, Lowenthal expressed interest in doing so, admitting that he's still waiting for my phone to ring. There are many ways they could play that, and one of those ways is, much like they showcased our suit in the background in the first film, you might just get to see him. I don't know. I hope. So yeah, interesting that Yuri hasn't been contacted yet. That kind of tells me that I don't think he's definitely not going to have a major role in the movie. And yeah, it doesn't seem like we might not even hear him. So it seems like the PS4 Spider-Man might just be like an Easter egg in the background. Which, is kind of disappointing because obviously honestly, yeah, the PS4 Spider-Man is my personal favorite iteration of the character. I think it is just the most just well-rounded version of the character. Then number 2 would be for me. And number 2 would be the Spectacular Spider-Man, and then I'd probably go with Andrew Garfield. But yeah, I think this is also not disappointing because here's the thing. What I really respect and appreciate about the Spider-Man games are that they kind of feel like more standalone. It kind of feels like its own like little standalone Spider-Man universe, and it's a feeling that we haven't really had since like the Raimi movies, where when you're watching the Raimi movies, Spider-Man actually like feels special. Like he feels incredible. He feels like this amazing, superhero. And when you're looking at the MCU, it's like who cares about Spider-Man, because we have like the Eternals and Celestials and whatever. And to a certain degree, as much as I love Into the Spider-Verse, it's like, I mean, Miles isn't really that special. I mean, we have an entire multiverse of Spider-Man. And so I already don't love the idea of like the PS4 Spider-Man when we're not seeing him. He's just like going on random like multiversal adventures that's just not brought up in the games. Like that already kind of bugs me. So I don't know. But obviously I love Yuri in this role, so it's like I would love to hear his voice on the big screen. Of course I would. So I don't know. I'm a bit conflicted, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. All right, next up, it looks like we're gonna see Contessa, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, actually fight in Thunderbolts. So here Miss Louis-Dreyfus says, "I pitched it. I told them I really want to fight." She said, "I haven't seen the script yet. We'll see if that happens." Regarding the physical demands that come with having a fight scene in a Marvel movie, the 62-year-old actor said, "Ugh, I guess I'd better get in shape." So, yeah, I think this is actually pretty cool. I mean, if she's supposed to be like the bad Nick Fury, I mean, it makes sense that she would also be capable. I don't know, maybe we'll get like another car chase scene like in the Winter Soldier. Okay, next up, next up is going to be spoiler alert for The Flash. So I am going to be talking about an image of a toy where the toy kind of reveals something that we haven't seen in any of the trailers, and to my knowledge, they haven't said in like a press release or something. So if you really don't want to watch it, or if you don't want to look at it, maybe come back in like 6 or 7 minutes. I'm not going to take too long on it, but I will show it because when it's a toy, so I would imagine that this is something that's going to be known before the movie's out, right? Like if it's a toy that you're selling, right, to market the movie or whatever. So you'll be warned. I'm about to go to it. So leave, okay, and come back, please. I beg of you, please come back. Okay. So we scroll down here. We have some toys of Michael Keaton's Batman, regular The Flash. Then we have The Flash Young Barry. So I guess we're going to have like a younger version of Barry in this. And then we have a Dark Flash, which might be the villain of the movie. I don't know. But yeah. So it kind of some interesting stuff here. I mean, I've seen people say that that Ezra Miller is also going to play Dark Flash and that he's going to be like a bad version of, Barry Allen. I don't know if I get that from this picture. Like I don't know that I can really assume that. And it doesn't seem like I don't know if that's really backed up by just like some reporter guy being like, nope, it's him. So I don't know if I buy necessarily that he is going to be like a bad version of Barry Allen, like straight up, and being played by Ezra Miller and all. I don't know if I buy that. I mean, it's very possible, but we'll see. All right, we're done with spoilers for that. But now another spoiler warning for Invincible. So basically, let's first read this from Robert Kirkman. So he says, there are a few stories I've mentioned in the past that I planned and couldn't work into the comics. I don't want to spoil things, but it's possible there will be episodes in future seasons that are wholly original to the show and written by me. So the potential for that is very exciting for me. So, we're gonna see where. I wonder what that means. So, okay, I'm gonna raise my hand, and I'm about to start spoiling Invincible. When I put it down, I'm done with the spoiling. And I'm gonna be spoiling the comic books, right? So, if you ever read the comic books, you can mute the video, okay? And then when I put my hand down, that's when we'll be good. I wonder if he's talking about the period of time, like, where there's the time jump, and you jump to where Mark is, like, the leader of the Kryptonians, the invincible Kryptonians, I don't remember their names. I wonder if that's what he's talking about, where maybe they're going to fill in the gaps there? Because nothing immediately jumps to mind as far as, like, anything else that we would want to see explored, necessarily. I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff throughout the story that Robert probably would have wanted to explore, but I can't think of anything else. That's the first thing that pops up to mind, and that's very intriguing to me. And I just wanted to point that out. So now, hand down. Okay, we're done with the spoilers. We're not spoiling Invincible anymore. All right, next story. So it looks like Wonder Man is gonna be it's gonna start filming in March of 2023. It's coming from Daniel RPK or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know what to make of this. I don't really understand it that much. Like this character, I think he's like an actor that gets superpowers or something like that. But I don't know. It's just kind of a weird choice for me. But we'll see. We shall see. Oh no, it's not coming from Daniel RPK. It's coming from Production Weekly, which is I think is like is that a magazine? Okay, so it's just like it's just like a website that keeps track of like productions. Okay, interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm honestly I'm gonna have to wait to see for a trailer for this to really get a handle on what it is and whether or not I'll be excited for it. Next story. The MCU's Blade reboot reportedly starts filming in May 2023. This is what was coming from Daniel RPK, if I remember correctly. Daniel Richmond claims that principal photography on the reboot will kick off on May 30th. But honestly, that's kind of like expected, I feel like, because I mean, unless they're going to end up delaying the movie like a serious degree, like they have to start production soon. I mean, however they're gonna majigger it to fit into the MCU, and whether or not it was important for people to like watch something after this or watch something before that, who knows? But I mean, yeah, sometime in the summer or earlier would have been nice for production on Blade to start. So, yeah, as of right now, that we have that May 30th date, so we shall see. All right. Last story of the day is a sad one. Why Mark Hamill will never voice the Joker again. So we'll just read Mark Hamill's quote. They would call and say they want you to do the Joker, and my only question was, is Kevin Batman? If they said yes, I would say I'm in. We were like partners. We were like Laurel and Hardy. Without Kevin there doesn't seem to be a Batman for me. That's sad, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna cry now, but as I was like setting up the show, like I had to read through this article. It kind of broke me. It kind of broke me a little bit, man. Conroy died on November 10th, 2022, at the age of 66, following a diagnosis of colorectal cancer. Kevin was perfection, Hamill said after news of the actor's passing broke. He was one of my favorite people on the planet, and I loved him like a brother. He truly cared for the people around him. His decency shone through everything he did. Every time I saw him or spoke with him, my spirits were elevated. But yeah, I mean, it's totally understandable, you know, why Mark would never want to voice the Joker again, because, I mean, he's been doing it with Kevin all these years. So as much as it hurts to maybe never hear Mark Hamill's Joker in anything new, I understand it. I genuinely do. And if there's anything to look forward to when it comes to the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game, it is that we're going to get to hear Kevin Conroy for one last time. And that is... That's the game might make me cry for many reasons, but I anticipate that might be one of them for a more positive reason. But yeah, that was the last story of the day. Now let's move on to what I've been watching. First up, I watched the first episode of The Last of Us. This show is on, you know, it is on Sundays, so, you know, it's not really feasible for me to like wait until like the episode of The Last of Us or of a big HBO show airs and then like do this show at like midnight, you know. So, but yeah, I love the first episode. I think that this is one of the more just better episode like pilots I've ever seen. I think when it comes to adaptation, it's pretty incredible. I mean, like, I think they make so many decisions, like to either stay the same or do things differently, that are either made that are just like better for television, or, you know, whereas like I'll use one example, right, where in the game, and I guess spoiler alert for the show and the game, but this is a pretty early on thing where in the game, this guy, he rips off Tess, right? And in the game, you actually have to go after him, and you have to go through like basically a tutorial level where you're shooting a bunch of his goons, and you end up getting to him, and you interrogate him, and blah 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 blah. But in the show, in this first episode, you don't ever have to go through that trial. Like Joel and Tess, they don't ever have to go to that, because you know, the guy that rips them off, like they get killed off on their own. And I actually really like that decision, because what they do in the game, or what they do in the show, is they kind of allude to Joel being a badass, and they kind of allude to everybody being scared of Joel. And in the game, you pretty immediately, like, you get in shootouts, and so yeah, you know Joel is a badass. But I love that in the show, they decided to not have any action with Joel, or at least him like shooting people or whatever, until the very end of the episode, where he has that flashback to his daughter getting shot, and he just unleashes all of that rage on that one guard. And in that one moment, I mean, it's obviously a very emotionally poignant moment, but it's like, oh yeah, I understand now why everybody's scared of Joel. So I mean that's just an example of one thing that they changed where I'm like that's for the better, and that's for the better for a TV show. So I think so far it's a pretty exceptional adaptation, and hopefully the quality continues. I will say, I still feel this way. Where I have a video up where I say that I can't get too excited for the show because I've played the game already, so it's not like the show isn't gonna hit me like it hit me the first time playing the game. And for the most part, that is still true. Like, all the emotional beats, while they're still emotional and they still impact me, don't get me wrong. It's like knowing that they're coming, it's like, and already having experienced it, it's like, it doesn't hit quite as hard. Like, Sarah's death, it's never going to hit me as hard as it hit me the first time I saw it in the game. That being said, I am still absolutely loving the show. I really love, watching it, and like, because I like The Last of Us is one of my favorite just things of all time, one of my favorite stories ever told. The Last of Us Part 2 is my favorite story ever told. So I know these games really well, and it's really cool watching such a faithful adaptation that makes these changes every now and then. And like I really like being able to like identify it, and the changes keep me on my toes. I'm like, ooh, they're not doing that, but they're doing this, but then I can kind of appreciate it because it makes sense for you to do that because you're a TV show and you're not a game. So I don't know, I'm really enjoying it. Like if you've never played the game or watched the show, probably maybe shouldn't have spoiled it. My apologies. I hope that nobody's watching this that hasn't watched the show or played the game. But you should definitely play the game. If you're not much of a gamer, the show is also a great thing to do. So either way, I liked it. All right, next up, I've also been watching Star Wars Rebels. Basically, I'm trying to get caught up so that I can understand Ahsoka, and maybe even like Mando season 3, because who knows how? Because the Filoni versus pretty obviously like tying in like animated stuff into their live action stuff. So I'm trying to get all caught up. And this is all a part of my chronological Star Wars watch through. So actually, like pretty recently, I played through Jedi Fallen Order, and then I watched Solo, and then I started watching Rebels. So I'm doing this. I'm watching Rebels. I'm hoping to finish it maybe before Mando season 3 comes out, or definitely before Ahsoka comes out. So we'll see if I'm actually able to do that. But yeah, either way, I guess just to talk about the show itself. I think it's cute. I will say, like, it is very like cute. Like, it's very much a kid's show, but I like the characters. I think they're fun. And I don't know if this is a hot take. I imagine it will be. I am enjoying it more than the Clone Wars so far. Like, I like the characters better than the characters in the Clone Wars. I do. I'm sorry. I don't know how controversial that is. But it is what it is. And then, also, speaking of controversial, I watched Velma. And, I don't like expressing this opinion on the internet, but, I am the sole Velma enjoyer on the internet. I like the show. I think it's funny. You know what I've come to understand about myself? I am a lot more of a normie than I give myself credit for. Because a lot of like the breaking the fourth wall and the breaking tropes and telling you that you're breaking tropes kind of dialogue that they have, a lot of like, film Twitter guys are like, oh, it's cringe. You know what? I like it. I think it's funny. And another thing about it, I can't. I just can't vibe with people that are just like so attached to like IP, to like intellectual property, where like if an artist so much as changes like anything about a character, it's like people lose their minds. It's like, yeah, they're not like the Scooby Gang from previous cartoons. And do they really have to be exactly the fucking same? Like, is it not okay for an artist to take an IP and do something weird and wacky with it? Like, is it not okay for, like, the people that are making Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey to, like, now that Winnie the Pooh is in the public domain, take that IP and make a wacky horror movie with it? Like, is it really that bad for Mindy Kaling to take the Scooby-Doo IP and make, like, a raunchy adult comedy? Like, I'm not saying you have to think it's good, but it's just, like, people are just inherently against it, you know? Like, if the criticism just stopped at, like, yeah, I don't like it, it's not funny, that's totally fair. But when the criticism is just like, how dare you take Scooby-Doo and you made it woke and you completely changed the characters and the Scooby's not even in it. It's like, bro, isn't it the popular opinion to be like, everything should be in the public domain, and I thought it's bad because corporations have product and they never innovate on product. Like, I feel like that's what everybody says, but the second like any artist, any storyteller changes even any little thing about a thing that somebody that says that likes, they'll lose their minds. It's like, Master Chief can't possibly have sex. How can I relate with him now? How am I supposed to relate to him? It's just like, I don't know. It's like if something is like Velma is just like so overtly not the thing. Like, it's just so, it is overtly, and it's never lied to anybody. Like, in the marketing, they make it very clear that this ain't your grandpappy Scooby-Doo. Why are you walking into the show comparing it as if it were your grandpappy Scooby-Doo? Like, why are we even making, like what is the point of a tweet that's like, Velma does this. Look at this. Look at how they did it in the old cartoon. It's like, okay. It's not the old cartoon. It's completely different. It's like a raunchy, self-referential comedy. It's like, it's different. Is it not okay for us to make a different Scooby-Doo cartoon? Like, there have been approximately 86 million Scooby-Doo, like, shows and movies. Like, there's so much fucking Scooby-Doo out there. You can go back and watch the old Scooby-Doo. I think it's okay if Mindy Kaling makes a wacky thing with it, with the property. I don't know. That's just whatever. Who cares? That's the end of the show. It was a wild one. Many range of emotions. I'm not doing well. I'm not. Okay. And James, Mr. Gunn, Mr. Saffron. Look at me. You don't cancel the Batman 2. I've said this before. I've said it many times on the stream. It can work. I know you're doing your whole DCU changes, blah, 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 yada, 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 but I expect for the Batman 2 and whatever plans Matt Reeves had for his Batverse to be a part of it, or not a part of it, but happening still, I will be upset. I will be upset if we get to your big presentation and the Batman, you're like, oh, the Batman's not happening anymore. I will be upset. I better not get a tweet saying that Robert Pattinson isn't playing Batman anymore. I will be upset. Because listen, James, I don't mean to be adversarial. I just need you to know that it can work. We can have 2 live action Batmen. It can be cool. You can have the Batman in your DCU, and then Matt Reeves can have his Batman over here. It can work. We can do it together. You know, we the audience and you, the creators, we can work together in harmony and live in peace. Now, if you decide to break that trust, if I wake up on Twitter one day and you're out here tweeting that Robert Pattinson isn't coming back as Batman and Matt Reeves' Batverse isn't happening, you will face our wrath. You thought the Snyder lunatics were bad? You thought? You think Star Wars fans are bad? You have no idea what's coming for you, James and Peter. I will write tweets and stuff. I will tag you in those tweets. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do any of that. But seriously, James, I need the Batman too. Emotionally, spiritually, I need it. I think a lot of us need it. And I think if you ever in your life considered yourself to be a good person with good morals, then you will make sure that Matt Reeves gets to make his movie. Yeah, I think I should probably just end the stream before I like actually lose my mind. I think I should probably do that. Bye. Have a subscribe, comment on the video, like the video, and goodbye.